Okay, here we go. Proceeding on our journey through subpart I, PPE of the OSHA standards. This next standard is 1938.140. And we are going to get into it right now. It's called Personal Fall Protection System. It's pretty involved, a lot to this standard. So, Personal Fall Protection Systems. Scope and application. This section establishes performance, care, and use criteria for all personal fall protection systems. The employer must ensure that each personal fall protection system used to comply with this part must meet the requirements of this section. Definitions. The following definitions apply to this section. Anchorage means a secure point of attachment for equipment, such as lifelines, lanyards, or deceleration devices. That's usually a big problem in fall protection. Where do you anchor? You've got to have that anchorage point. That's a big problem sometimes because when they build buildings, they don't think about that. Belt terminal means an end attachment of a window cleaner's positioning system used for securing the belt or harness to a window cleaner's belt anchor. Body belt means a strap with means both for securing about the waist and for attaching to other components such as a lanyard used with positioning systems, travel restraint systems, or ladder safety systems. Body harness means straps that secure about the employee in a manner to distribute the fall arrest forces over at least the thighs, pelvis, waist, chest, and shoulders, with a means for attaching the harness to other components of a fall protection system. Carabiner means a connector generally comprised of a trapezoidal or oval-shaped body with a closed gate or similar arrangement that may be opened to attach another object and, when released, automatically closes to retain the object. Competent person means a person who is capable of identifying existing and predictable hazards in any personal fall protection system or any component of it, as well as in their application and uses with related equipment, and who has authorization to take prompt corrective action to eliminate the identified hazards. So they have to be able to kind of figure out what is wrong. They also have to have the authorization to take prompt corrective action to eliminate the hazards. Connector means a device used to couple or connect parts of the fall protection system together. D-ring means a connector used in a harness as an integral attachment element or fall arrest attachment, in a lanyard, energy absorber, lifetime or anchorage connector as an integral connector, or in a positioning or travel restraint system as an attachment element. Deceleration device means any mechanism that serves to dissipate energy during a fall. So when you fall and it decelerates, it means it dissipates the energy of your fall into operating this device. Deceleration distance means the vertical distance a falling employee travels from the point at which the deceleration device begins to operate, excluding lifeline elongation and free fall distance until stopping. It is measured as the distance between the location of an employee's body harness attachment point at the moment of activation, at the onset of fall arrest forces, of the deceleration device during a fall, and the location of that attachment point after the employee comes to a full stop. Equivalent means alternative designs, equipment, materials, or methods that the employer can demonstrate will provide an equal or greater degree of safety for employees compared to the designs, equipment, materials, or methods specified in the standard. Free fall means the act of falling before the personal fall arrest system begins to apply force to arrest the fall. Free fall distance means the vertical displacement of the fall arrest attachment point on the employee's body belt or body harness between the onset of the fall and just before the system begins to apply force to arrest the fall. This distance excludes deceleration distance, lifeline, and lanyard elongation, but it includes any deceleration device slide distance or self-retracting lifeline lanyard extension before the devices operate and fall arrest forces occur. Lanyard means a flexible line of rope, wire rope, or strap that generally has a connector at each end for connecting the body belt or body harness to a deceleration device, lifeline, or anchorage. A lifeline means a component of a personal fall protection system consisting of a flexible line for connection to an anchorage at one end so as to hang vertically, vertical lifeline, or for connection to anchorage at both ends so as to stretch horizontal lifeline, and serves as a mean for connecting other components of the system to the anchorage. Personal fall arrest system means a system used to arrest an employee in a fall from a walking working surface. It consists of a body harness, anchorage, and connector. The means of connection may include a lanyard, deceleration device, lifeline, or a suitable combination of these. So the system, that's the whole thing, obviously. Personal fall arrest protection system means a system, including all components, an employer uses to provide protection from falling or to safely arrest an employee's fall if one occurs. Examples of personal fall protection systems include personal fall arrest systems, positioning systems, and travel restraint systems. Positioning system or work positioning system means a system of equipment and connectors that, when used with a body harness or body belt, allows an employee to be supported on an elevated vertical surface, such as a wall or windowsill, and will work with both hands free. Positioning systems are also called positioning system devices and work positioning equipment. Qualified describes a person who, by possession of a recognized degree, certificate, or professional standing, or who by extensive knowledge, training, and experience has successfully demonstrated the ability to solve or resolve problems relating to the subject matter, the work, or the project. Rope grab means a deceleration device that travels on a lifeline and automatically, by friction, engages the lifeline and locks so as to arrest the fall of an employee. A rope grab usually employs the principle of inertial locking, cantilever locking, or both. So what it does, it basically grabs the rope. Safety factor means the ratio of the design load and the ultimate strength of the material. Self-retracting lifeline lanyard means a deceleration device containing a drum wound line that can be slowly extracted from or retracted onto the drum under slight tension during normal movement by the employee. At the onset of a fall, the device automatically locks the drum and arrests the fall. This is kind of like your seatbelt, where you can pull it out slowly, but then if you need it, and it pulls it out quickly, it'll grab. Snap hook means a connector comprised of a hook-shaped body with a normally closed gate or similar arrangement that may be manually opened to permit a hook to receive an object. When released, the snap hook automatically closes to retain the object. Opening a snap hook requires two separate actions. Snap hooks are generally one of two types. Automatic locking type, which is permitted, with a self-closing and self-locking gate that remains closed and locked until intentionally unlocked and open for connection or disconnection, and non-locking type, which is prohibited, with a self-closing gate that remains closed but not locked until intentionally open for connection or disconnection. Travel restraint tethered line means a rope or wire rope used to transfer forces from a body support to an anchorage or anchorage connector in a travel restraint system. Travel restraint system means a combination of an anchorage connector, lanyard, or other means of connection, and body support that an employer uses to eliminate the possibility of an employee going over the edge of a walking working surface. Travel restraint doesn't stop you from falling, straps you from getting to where you're going to fall. Window cleaner's belt means a positioning belt that consists of a waist belt, an integral terminal runner or strap, and belt terminals. Window cleaner's belt anchor, or window anchor, means specifically designed fall-preventing attachment points permanently affixed to a window frame or to a building part immediately adjacent to the window frame for direct attachment of the terminal portion of a window cleaner's belt. Window cleaner's positioning system means a system which consists of a window cleaner's belt secured to window anchors. Work positioning system, see positioning system in paragraph B, which we already talked about. So that's the definitions. Now we're into C, general requirements. The employer must ensure that personal fall protection systems meet the following requirements. Additional requirements for personal fall arrest systems and positioning systems are contained in paragraph D and E of this section, respectively. So connectors must be drop forged, pressed, or formed steel or made of equivalent materials. Connectors must have a corrosion-resistant finish, and all surfaces and edges must be smooth to prevent damage to interfacing parts of the system. That makes sense. When vertical lifelines are used, each employee must be attached to a separate lifeline. Lanyards and vertical lifelines must have a minimum breaking strength of 5,000 pounds. Self-retracting lifelines and lanyards that automatically limit free fall distance to 2 feet or less must have components capable of sustaining a minimum tensile load of 3,000 pounds applied to the device with a lifeline or lanyard in the fully extended position. A competent person or qualified person must inspect each knot in a lanyard or a vertical lifeline to ensure that it meets the requirements of paragraphs C4 and 5 of this section before any employee uses the lanyard or lifeline. D-rings, snap hooks, and carabiners must be capable of sustaining a minimal tensile load of 5,000 pounds. They have to be pretty sturdy, which makes sense. D-rings, snap hooks, and carabiners must be proof tested to a minimum tensile load of 3,600 pounds without cracking, breaking, or incurring permanent deformation. The gate strength of snap hooks and carabiners must be capable of withstanding a minimum load of 3,600 pounds without the gate separating from the nose of the snap hook or carabiner body by more than 0.125 inches, which is an eighth of an inch. Snap hooks and carabiners must be the automatic locking type that require at least 2 separate consecutive movements to open. Snap hooks and carabiners must not be connected to any of the following unless they are designed for such connection. They must not be connected now directly to webbing rope or wire rope, to each other, to a D-ring to which another snap hook, carabiner, or connector is attached, to a horizontal lifeline, or to any object that is incompatibly shaped or dimensioned in relation to the snap hook or carabiner, that such unintentional disengagement could occur when the connected object depresses the snap hook or carabiner gate, allowing the components to separate. So they can make you some specific things, and then they say anything that might open up this snap hook or carabiner. Pretty much what it says, unintentional disengagement. The employer must ensure that each horizontal lifeline is designed, installed, and used under the supervision of a qualified person and is part of a complete personal fall arrest system that maintains a safety factor of at least 2. Anchorages used to attach to personal fall protection equipment must be independent of any anchorage used to suspend employees or platforms on which employees work. Anchorages used to attach to personal fall protection equipment on mobile work platforms on powered industrial trucks must be attached to an overhead member of the platform at a point located above and near the center of the platform. Anchorages except window cleaners belt anchors covered by paragraph E of this section must be capable of supporting at least 5,000 pounds for each employee attached, or designed, installed, and used under the supervision of a qualified person as part of a complete personal fall protection system that maintains a safety factor of at least 2. Travel restraint lines must be capable of sustaining a tensile load of at least 5,000 pounds. Lifelines must not be made of natural fiber rope. Polypropylene rope must contain an ultraviolet light inhibitor. Polypropylene is like a lot of polyester type of things. They're very susceptible to decay from light. Personal fall protection systems and their components must be used exclusively for employee fall protection and not for any other purpose, such as hoisting equipment or materials. And that makes sense. You can't use it for anything else. Personal fall protection system or its components subject to impact loading must be removed from service immediately and not used again until a competent person inspects the system or components and determines that it is not damaged and safe for use for employee personal fall protection. So if it's been subject to impact loading and when it's been used. So personal fall protection systems must be inspected before initial use during each work shift for mildew, wear, damage, and other deterioration, and defective components must be removed from service. Ropes, belts, lanyards, and harnesses used for personal fall protection must be compatible with all connectors used. Ropes, belts, lanyards, lifelines, and harnesses used for personal fall protection must be protected from being cut, abraded, melted, or otherwise damaged. I would think you'd want to keep all your safety stuff in pretty good shape. The employer must provide for prompt rescue of each employee in the event of a fall. Personal fall protection systems must be worn with the attachment point of the body harness located in the center of the employee's back near shoulder level. The attachment point may be located in the pre-sternal position if the free fall distance is limited to 2 feet or less. Now, prompt rescue, the first one in case of a fall, when an employee falls and they're hanging in midair because they fall protection system has stopped them from hitting the ground. So far, so good. They didn't fall and hit the ground. But now they're hanging in the air and they're not out of it yet. Number one, they could swing, and you do swing when you fall, so they might have hit something there too. But also, when you're in a harness, that kind of cuts off you're almost sitting down in it. It cuts off the flow of blood to your legs. So, phone thing out here. So what could happen, and does happen occasionally, somebody is up and hanging for a long time before they can get them down. And that might be true, because you got somebody hanging down the middle of your plane here, and you got to get them off. You got to get them up there too. They may be pretty high up, and they get them down. And the first thing you want to do is lie them down. And that's the worst thing you can do, because all this blood that's in your legs is going to rush up the rest of your body, and that could cause you damage. Personal fall arrest system performance criteria. In addition to the general requirements of paragraph C of this section, which we just covered, the employer must ensure that personal fall arrest systems limit the maximum arresting force on the employee to 1,800 pounds. Bring the employee to a complete stop and limit the maximum deceleration distance the employee travels to 3.5 feet. Have sufficient strength to withstand twice the potential impact energy of the employee free falling the distance of 6 feet, or the free fall distance permitted by the system, and sustain the employee within the system strap configuration without making contact with the employee's neck and chin area, because you don't want that to happen if you're free falling 6 feet. You don't want your neck and chin to be hit with anything, of course. If the personal fall arrest system meets the criteria and protocols in Appendix D of this subpart and is being used by an employee having combined body and tool weight of less than 310 pounds, the system is considered to be in compliance with the provisions of paragraph D through D1I through III of this section. If the system is used by an employee having combined body and tool weight of 310 pounds or more, and the employer has appropriately modified the criteria and protocols in Appendix D, then the system will be deemed to be in compliance with the requirements of paragraph D1I through III. System use criteria. The employer shall ensure that on any horizontal lifeline that may become a vertical lifeline, the device used to connect to the horizontal lifeline is capable of locking in both directions on the lifeline. Personal fall arrest systems are rigged in such a manner that the employee cannot free fall more than 6 feet or contact a lower level. A free fall may be more than 6 feet, provided the employer can demonstrate the manufacturer designed the system to allow free fall of more than 6 feet and tested the system to ensure a maximum arresting force of 1,800 pounds is not exceeded. So I don't know how you're going to determine that. Body belts are prohibited as part of a personal fall arrest system. So a body belt is just that. It's a belt that goes around your body. You use it for restraint systems so you can't get to the edge, but they're not any good for fall arrest systems. Positioning systems. System performance requirements. The employer must ensure that each positioning system meets the following requirements. All positioning systems, except window cleaners positioning systems, are capable of withstanding without failure a drop test consisting of a 4-foot drop of 250-pound weight. Window cleaners positioning systems. All window cleaners positioning systems must be capable of withstanding without failure a drop test consisting of a 6-foot drop of a 250-pound weight, and limit the initial arresting force on the falling employee to not more than 2,000 pounds, with a duration not exceeding 2 milliseconds, and any subsequent arresting force of not more than 1,000 pounds. Positioning systems, including window cleaners positioning systems that meet the test methods and procedures in Appendix D of this subpart, are considered to be in compliance with paragraphs E1I and III. Lineman's body belt and pull strap systems. Lineman's body belt and pull strap systems must meet the following tests. A dielectric test, and we're not going to do that because we're not going to be doing the testing. A leakage test, flammability test. That's something in the field that's not going to happen. This is a flammability test, though, so you can see that vertically suspended 19.7-inch length of strap supporting a 220.5-pound weight. And then use a butane and propane burner with a 3-inch flame. Direct the flame to the edge of the strapping at a distance of 1 inch. Remove the flame after 5 seconds and wait for any flames on the positioning strap to stop burning. It has to, for criteria for the passing of the test, any flame on the positioning strap must self-extinguish. The positioning strap must continue to support the 220.5-pound mass. It doesn't say for how long, just continue to support it at all, I guess. System use criteria for window cleaners positioning systems. The employer must ensure that window cleaners positioning systems meet and are used in accordance with the following. Window cleaners belts are designed and constructed so that belt terminals will not pass through their fastenings on the belt or harness if a terminal comes loose from the window anchor. So in other words, if it comes loose from window anchor, it's going to still catch on the belt. So it's not going to come free and you're going to fall, but you're going to have something there. And the length of the runner from terminal tip to 8 feet. I'm not going to worry too much about window anchors and window cleaners. That's pretty specified. If you have people that are window cleaners, you'll have to look at the standard and figure out what to do. Window anchors, use of install window anchors for any purpose other than attaching the window cleaner's belt is prohibited. Okay, can't use it for anything else. That makes sense. You'll find that throughout safety, whatever is something designed for something that's safety related, you're usually not allowed to use it for anything else. That makes sense. You don't want it beat up something being used by something else. Window anchor that's damaged or deteriorated cannot be used, of course. Ropes that deteriorated strength is not used. Make all this stuff makes sense. Something's beat up or broken or worn out and you can't use it. This is window sills and ledges, and I'm not going to get into detail on window sills and ledges because I don't know. Well, if you get into that field of window cleaners, you know where to go. So nothing about window cleaners is going to be on any test. I mean, again, this is about window cleaning. Employees in window cleaners positioning system may travel from one window to another while outside the building. Interesting, but the distance between window anchors, the silver ledge between windows is continuous. So the last part of that, so that's it. There's a lot of technical stuff in there, but there's some good stuff about the lanyards and the fall protection system. And one of the main things is you're going to buy something like this from a reputable dealer. And when you buy a fall rest system, any time I've ever been anywhere and bought these, the manufacturer's rep will come to your place and train people on them. And they're qualified, usually qualified, these to make sure they are, but they'll come and train your people. And they're usually pretty cooperative with that, because as you can see, once you use these things and once they get beat up or anything like that, they're not good anymore. So you're going to be buying another one. So don't hesitate ever throughout anything to let manufacturers reps help you. Don't, trust but verify, but they can be a big help to you. So, all right, that's it for this. As you know, always want you to be safe.